Hello everyone, I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm the nerd on the street, and today we're taking a look at Elementary OS 5.0 Juno. Alright everyone, so last Tuesday, Elementary OS 5.0 was released, 2 days before Ubuntu 18.10 was released. And Elementary OS 5.0, which is the version that comes after 0.4, it's just a refresh of Elementary OS based on the latest Ubuntu LTS 18.04. Elementary OS is well known for its custom desktop environment Pantheon that looks very similar to Mac OS. It's known for having a very polished style sheet, and in recent versions it's also been known for its App Center. A lot of people ask, Jacob, if I'm making open source software but I want to make a living off of that, how am I supposed to charge money if I'm giving my code away for free? Elementary OS is trying to address that by providing an App Center where users are encouraged to pay an amount to download applications, but the apps still are available to download for free if users don't want to pay, if they want to try it out first and pay later or something like that. Overall, it's a business model that I'm a little bit conflicted about, but overall I'm inclined to support. So that, plus all the other cool things about Elementary OS, made me want to try it out. Now today I'll actually be installing Elementary OS on my main computer, my desktop. I actually recorded this last week, and what I did was I shrank my Kubuntu partition to about 2/3 of my drive, and I'm going to install Elementary OS on the remaining 1/3. The first half of this video is just installing Elementary OS. The second half is going to get into some AMD driver things. Just for some background and context, I'm using the AMD GPU-PRO drivers on my machine. The reason I'm using the Pro drivers and not the open source drivers is because the open source drivers do not support OpenCL, which is required for Blender GPU rendering, as well as for opening up programs like DaVinci Resolve. However, the AMD GPU-PRO drivers are currently causing a memory leak in Xorg on Kubuntu. I was hoping that maybe Elementary OS would be different enough I could still install the AMD drivers on Elementary OS because it's based on Ubuntu 18.04, which is one of AMD's supported operating systems. But I was hoping maybe it would be different enough to where that memory leak would not occur. You'll see how that goes toward the end of the video. I just wanted to give some context. If you only care about Elementary OS and you don't care about what I'm doing with my computer, you can only watch the first half of this video and then you can click off. That's fine. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into it. Here is Elementary OS 5.0 Juno. I hope you enjoy. Alright, and here we are on my Kubuntu desktop. We're going to go ahead and shut this thing down. Actually, I'll just click restart. Yep, reboot. And I'm going to start hitting the delete key so that we can get into my BIOS and boot into my flash drive. So I have removed both of the physical screens from my desktop right now. I am just plugged into the capture card, which I am recording with my laptop. Alright, so there is our BIOS splash screen. Like I said, hitting delete because it's an easy way for me to select my boot device. And we'll go to our last section here, and under boot override, we will boot into our flash drive, which is running Elementary OS. We got the grub screen immediately there, and we'll go ahead and click try here, and we'll see how quickly this boots up. It's going over a USB 2.0 flash drive, so it might take a second. Alright, and we've got a nice Elementary OS splash screen. The logo is pulsing there. Okay, and that is a striking default desktop background actually. The first thing we're going to do is adjust our screen resolution. Wow, I just got a little ding there for our notification. That's nice. We'll open up the system settings here, go to displays, and my capture card likes to advertise itself as 1920 by 1200. We'll bring that down to standard 1080p for your viewing pleasure. Okay, how's that look? Probably a little better. Okay, so Elementary OS 5.0 Juno. This is an interesting experience. It looks very similar to older versions of Elementary OS. They did make title bars a little bigger. One of those things I'm not sure quite how I feel about it, but we'll talk about that more later. The default theme is, like I said, overall similar, although they did tweak some things. And what I'm going to do right now, we'll go ahead and start our installer, which our system installer would be nowhere on the dock. Interesting. Is it under applications? We've got Gparted installed. I really appreciate that because that's what I'm going to use here in a second. Okay, here we go. So we'll click Install Elementary OS. I would have thought they would put that in the dock for the live installer, but you know, that's fine. So default language is English. I like it. Okay. Text our keyboard layout. Wireless, we will connect to a Wi-Fi network, and we're probably going to have issues actually with Wi-Fi out of the box. Unfortunately, let me type in, actually I need to look up my Wi-Fi password for this house that I'm in. We'll type that in, and like I was saying, my motherboard's Wi-Fi card does have some issues. They can be resolved by manually disabling wireless in on the wireless card, but before I do that, we might have connectivity issues. So we'll see if that causes any problems. We are going to leave download updates checked for now, but if that stuff starts failing later, I'll know I have to go and do something. So right now, this is taking a second to load. This is probably scanning our hard drive, or our SSD, I guess, so maybe it'll be a little quicker than the normal hard drive scan. Okay, so we've got an option to install alongside Ubuntu, but I'd rather do this manually. Really rather do this manually. Okay, so the NVMe drive is what we're installing to. This is an SD card, and this is the flash drive we're installing from. So this partition here needs to shrink. And this is where I actually honestly feel a little safer using gparted. So once again, I'm really glad they include that by default. Wow, and they managed to make it not look like crap too. That's pretty nice. Gparted is a great program, but it's got some theming issues on a lot of modern distros. So we will resize our partition here. Here we go. So gparted, I can just click and drag. I don't want to commit to this 100%, so we'll leave plenty of free space open on my current installation, but we'll go a little bit more here. Okay. I want it to be relatively easy to move my files from Kubuntu over to Elementary OS if I do decide to stick with this. Okay, so we will apply that resize operation first. It's good to do one thing at a time in gparted, so this shouldn't take too long, hopefully. And this is just why I prefer using gparted over any sort of installer for partitioning, is just because we get detailed information about what's going on while it's happening like this. Probably doesn't actually make a difference in the performance of things, but it makes me feel better when we're dealing with our partitions that my data is on. And that is moving nice and quickly because of that PCIe NVMe SSD we've got, which I am very, very fortunate to have. And the inode operations do tend to take a while even on an SSD. It's actually CPU intensive. Okay, looks like we got done though. Alright, so we shrank that partition successfully. Cool. So now if we go back to our installer, something else. Is there a refresh button here? Alright, we gotta go back another step in our installer here. Back. Continue. Alright, have it scan our disk again and pick up that there's some free space there that we can use. Okay, so now if we click something else again, continue. Alrighty, so now we've got our free space available to select. So we will click New Partition. This is a primary partition. Beginning of the space, ext4, mount point, root. Alright, and that's the only thing we're formatting. We're not touching our existing partition with Ubuntu. Okay, and we are installing the bootloader onto that same SSD. That's fine. We'll click continue, continue. And okay, so we've got our standard Linux installer things here going on. We've got our time zone, which is automatically detected correctly. We've got our name, Jacob Kaufman. Impulse workstation is the name of this machine. We've got a username, we've got our password, and we'll require a password to log in because we're secure here at Nerd on the Street. Okay. This does not look very nice for what I would expect from Elementary OS. Just this screen in particular, gotta be honest. Looks like something's missing here. That might have something to do with the Wi-Fi connectivity, but yeah, I don't know what this is just a gray box here. Considering the entire point of Elementary OS, most of their selling point, if you read through their website and all their materials about their operating system, is that they really take a lot of time to polish the experience. They've polished their style sheets. I mean, like I said, gparted looked decent on here, which is great. But then if this is what your installer looks like, normally there would be a slideshow here So like I said, maybe it couldn't get the slides from the internet, maybe, but I don't know why they wouldn't be stored locally anyway, because we might not have had internet access at all. What is this? We got an error message in our terminal. Oh, that's a progress bar, not a scroll bar. Got it. Okay, so we can at least scroll through here. We got some errors during installation, which is actually relatively normal for, you know, installers. There's usually errors and things. We'll just ignore them and hope everything works all right. And yeah, coming down here, here's our multitasking view. So this is where we can get to virtual desktops, which I do use very often in my current workflow. So we can grab windows and move them around like that. We can open up different applications here. Elementary OS is shipping Epiphany now, the GNOME web browser, where they used to ship Midori, which is the XFCE, or one of the XFCE web browsers. But yeah, I didn't realize they had started shipping Epiphany a couple versions ago, actually. Looks like we are downloading some files successfully. Okay, so that's good. That means our Wi-Fi is working for now. Yeah, coming through our default apps here again. We've got a mail client. I'm not going to open it up right now because I don't want to set that up. I don't use the desktop mail client right now. I might start eventually. Right now I'm happier with webmail in Firefox, so I'm going to stick with webmail for now. We've got a calendar app, which is cool. Don't see these a whole lot these days. But this looks nicer than either GNOME Calendar or the KDE Calendar app right now, actually. So that's cool. But then again, how often do you use a calendar app? It's sort of a balance when talking about how important that is. The music app I'm definitely going to be taking a look at because you guys know I'm very particular about my music apps. They added a new sidebar for the currently selected album now. You've got an album grid, which is my one requirement for music players on Linux, is they have to have an album grid view. And then, yeah, this new version has a sidebar that pops up when you click on an album and it lists all the songs on the album. It looks pretty nice, so I will be trying that out. Okay. This is a fatal error, unable to install Grub. The installer crashed. Wow, this is the first time I've ever... This is actually the worst installation that I've ever had. This is the first time I've ever had an installer actually just crash that I can think of. I don't remember ever seeing this error before, and I've been using Linux for a long time. So the installer crashed after you close this window. Oh good, they'll allow me to file a bug report at least, so that's great. Maybe I shouldn't have installed Grub. I don't know why it would be an issue. I mean, I had Grub installed already for Kubuntu, so was not anticipating. I knew that this Grub would wipe out my Kubuntu Grub, which will be annoying if I decide to roll back, but why is there so much empty space at the top of this menu? And didn't it just say it was going to let me file a bug report, and now it's not opening anything up? Is it on the other desktop or something? No, there's only one desktop. All right. Gosh, so now I'm just in this awkward situation where I don't know if that actually installed or not. We've got files on the drive. Well, this puts me in an awkward spot. Let's open up Epiphany and Google this, I guess. Normally I would use a different search engine, but I'm looking for a quick result right now. So Elementary OS 5.0 Juno Grub error installer. Alright, and we've got people who beat me to the YouTube videos, which is great. 7 things Elementary OS does terribly wrong. Not gonna go into that today. Alright. Verify the ISO for corruption. This is the top-notch debugging you get from the Elementary OS community. Try writing the image in DD mode. Yeah, the image was written using DD through Etcher. Try another USB stick. Alright, yeah, these people don't know anything about Grub error messages, do they? Alright, we're gonna try, I guess, rebooting and seeing what we get. Yeah. If we need to, we can just boot into the installer again and try it again. Don't know, is it waiting for me to hit enter right now or something? It's just got the Elementary logo. I'm gonna hit enter. That did nothing. Alright. Alright, here we go. Now I press enter. The logo stopped pulsing, so I thought it might have been waiting for me. That's the only reason why. So we'll see if anything comes up. If it broke my Kubuntu Grub, that would be not great, but I'm fairly certain there was nothing wrong with my selections in that installer, because all I did was I selected the drive itself to install grub on. I did not select any of the partitions, which you're not supposed to select partitions. Alright, and whose grub are we going to get right now? Or are we going to get any grub right now? Hello? This is a black screen, so this is actually not great. Oh, okay, well, we're just booting into Kubuntu then. Alright. So I'll log in here to my Kubuntu installation. I wonder if there's an update grub. Yeah, I'm going to try running an update grub command. Hey, I'm still seeding the Elementary OS torrent. Let's go ahead and remove that. I did upload a few hundred megabytes at least. I know, not the best return rate, but at least it's something. Alright, so grub make config. What's the command for this? You must run this as root. Yeah, sudo grub make config. And I think I need to pipe this out. Yeah, I need to pipe this out. And it did find Elementary OS though. Grub make config. Let's see, grub.config, right? Alright, where am I piping this out to? This is the kind of thing that, it's like I don't have this memorized. I can find out very easily. Grub make config Kubuntu. Alright, here we go, here we go. Grub2 setup. Okay, so we don't even need to pipe it. We just use the -O for output option, boot grub.config. Alright, so I forgot that it was stored in the /boot directory, but we did find Elementary OS 5.0 Juno here in Kubuntu, so Kubuntu recognized Elementary OS. Hopefully that means it's actually installed. Let's reboot again. Not a very smooth experience for installing Elementary OS, but you know, I won't fault them 100% just on a grub error. I know weird things happen sometimes. But yeah, anyone who says that this is like the beginner's distro or like the distro for people who want things to just work, you know, I just had to boot into my prior operating system to complete the installation because the installer failed. So I wouldn't call that just working. But if we get through all of this and it works for my needs, then it'll still be good. So, alright, we'll come down here and select Elementary OS. Okay. I was expecting a splash screen and not text, but that's fine. I don't mind text. Okay, and here is, looks like LightDM? What is this thing here? Oh, it's a password symbol. Alright. So I'll log in to Elementary OS here, and it looks like at least our installation did complete, even though we didn't get the installation complete message. We've got Elementary OS. Wi-Fi network's available. I got a little ding there. I actually do like that. That's nice, that notification sound. What was my Wi-Fi password again? I am so on top of things today. Alright, we're connected. Cool. Once again, we are going to change our screen resolution. Displays. Change this to 1080p. Apply. Alright, and that's just about everything for installing Elementary OS. I wasn't expecting it to have that little hiccup there, but it is a pretty simple installer if it works. And yeah, now we've got Elementary OS, so your applications are in the top left. I'm really looking forward to going through the App Center. I want to make another video just dedicated to kind of talking about the App Center and what they're trying to do here and how it's working. They've got these apps in here that are made specifically for Elementary OS. Yeah, see, they've got the curated apps at the top and then non-curated below that. So like AbiWord, you've probably heard of before. But they've got these apps at the top made, like I said, just for Elementary OS, and they want you to pay for them, but you don't have to pay for them. You can just type in 0 and install them if you want to. See, that button just changed to say free now. But yeah, right now, what I'm actually going to do first and foremost is install the AMD proprietary driver since I need it to run DaVinci Resolve. I know, it's the pains of, that's what I get for trying to use proprietary softwares. Going through crap like this. You know, well, I'll go ahead and I'll keep recording for this. We've only been going for 22 minutes, so it's not like this video is super substantial right now anyway. So AMD GPU-PRO 18.30 is the latest version. Okay, so we'll download this. And this does support Ubuntu 18.04.1, and Elementary OS 5.0 is based on Ubuntu 18.04. So we'll download this right here. This is actually pretty nice, Epiphany. I used it a long time ago. It does have Firefox Sync now, which means I could actually use it as my main browser if I wanted to, because I heavily utilize Firefox Sync in my browsing. Not a huge fan of how they handle tabs like this, but I mean, it's not too bad. It's alright. I'll probably end up installing Firefox. Really, how much I install depends on if I get my applications working on this operating system. The reason I wanted to try something other than Kubuntu is because I'm experiencing a memory leak with Xorg in Kubuntu that is crashing my system every few days. And there's no system monitor pre-installed with this, so I can't even see how much RAM is being used. I could open up a terminal and run free. Let's open up App Center and see if there's a good system monitor anywhere. System monitor. Calculate display info, that's not what I'm looking for, and then that's the only curated app, okay. KSysGuard is my favorite system monitor. We've got GNOME system monitor as well. We're gonna install KSysGuard since it's right here in the App Center. And this is what it looks like to install a non-curated app to the App Center. So that's downloading now. Pleased that my Wi-Fi is working so far with no issues. What was that notification? I wasn't paying attention. Alright, well it went away. Alright, so like I was saying, most people don't need AMD GPU-PRO. They can just get away with the free and open source AMD GPU driver. That's fine if you're gaming, but if you're actually doing like work with your computer, media work such as OpenCL stuff, and particularly Blender requires AMD GPU-PRO OpenCL only. DaVinci Resolve requires AMD GPU-PRO the entire stack from top to bottom before it'll even open. Alright, we've got KSysGuard installed. Nice. So now we can come in here and open up KSysGuard. How do Qt apps look? Wow! You know, I'll give them this. Well, yeah, Qt makes it super easy, actually, to look good on a GTK environment. But this does look, even though this is a KDE application, this looks like any of the other Elementary OS apps that I've opened up so far here. So I'll give them that much credit here. And right now, Xorg is using 43 megabytes, which is pretty good. So we're going to install the AMD GPU-PRO driver and see if that balloons up. If we go into here... Can we open this in a terminal? Yes. And here's our Elementary OS terminal. Looks pretty nice. A little bit more transparent than I normally set my terminal to, but that's okay. And sudo ./AMDGPU-PRO install. I don't remember which one I need right now, actually. I'll do --help then. Unsupported OS, okay, so we gotta edit this file. Oh, we'll take a look at their code editor. I've never used code since it was renamed to code. It used to be called Scratch and it was just a text editor. So let's do a Control F for unsupported OS. So this is the function OS release. So can we do OS Control F? All right, hitting Control F again does not select everything in the Control F field, which I expected it to. Interesting choice there. OS release. And actually the easiest way to see if this is gonna work is by grabbing DaVinci Resolve first, because Resolve is the program that is the touchiest with the AMD drivers. So let's go ahead and grab this. Once again, I'm aware Resolve is proprietary. I will be installing Kdenlive as well, and I do use that sometimes, but I am enjoying using Resolve right now for some of my videos. I do have to put in contact information every time I download it. Alright, the drop-down boxes in Epiphany do not have type ahead, so that is slightly inconvenient. Oh, we've got 15.1.2 now. Had another minor release. I am impressed that the Wi-Fi has not dropped out yet. Normally the Wi-Fi has issues before now. Like when I start downloading things, that's normally when the Wi-Fi has problems. What kernel version are we running? This is 4.15. Obviously not the latest version of the kernel, but hopefully it will work with the AMD drivers. AMD is in the process of phasing out these Pro drivers, and as soon as they finally finish doing that, then Blackmagic Design will be forced to support the newer ROCm drivers that are much easier to get working on modern Linux versions. Right, but to get rid of this unsupported OS message, all right, all we're gonna do, if we've got case of Ubuntu, it's going to continue the program. If we've got a case of not Ubuntu, we're just also going to continue the program. We'll see if that edit works. And you can see there's different combinations of packages you can install with this AMD GPU-PRO driver. It really makes the NVIDIA driver, the proprietary NVIDIA driver, look really, really nice compared to how AMD does it with their 10,000 different deb packages. I know this is more Unixy, since they've got it separated out, and some package people like that. But like on Arch Linux, the philosophy is you've got one package per program. They don't separate out libraries from programs when they don't need to. They don't separate out packages from each other when you're always going to be installing them in a group. So the docs auto hiding functionality there, you can see we can go ahead and maximize Windows, and it hides the dock. You can get to the dock still by bringing your mouse to the bottom of the screen. And yeah, if we come back into the App Center here, there was some interesting things that I saw on their website. Like we've got like a custom e-reader just for elementary OS here. And I don't know how many people are reading ebooks on their desktop that often, but this one caught my eye. Spice Up. This caught my eye on their website when I saw this in a screenshot. This is a custom presentation software. So it's like Keynote on Mac OS or something, but it's just its own thing. It's not LibreOffice. It's just its own program called Spice Up. And that's neat. I can't believe somebody went through the effort of making this just for elementary OS. I mean, it follows their design standards. It uses the languages that they require. And even though this thing says $20, you can just go in here and change this to 0 and download it for free if you want to. And then you can have presentation software to use. But of course, you can't run your presentations on anyone else's computers unless they're also running elementary OS, which they're probably not in an office environment. But see, now we've just got this presentation software. Like, this really impresses me. Somebody went through, and there's these templates, like somebody went through the effort of making this presentation software, like I said, just for elementary OS. That is actually really impressive. But then again, how often are you actually going to use it? That's what I'm really interested in. Like, we've got all these nice, cool, like, it's cool that that's there. How often are you going to use it, though? Obviously, if you use it a lot, then you'd want to not change the price to free, and you'd want to pay for it at some point. That's their idea behind the App Center. Why is the install application in our dock now that we're already installed? All right, we'll uncheck that from our dock. All right, DaVinci Resolve is done downloading, so we can go to our downloads and open up that zip file. And oh, that's right, it's just a binary file. It's not even a deb package. No, it's all coming back to me now. We have to use an application to turn that into a deb. Make resolve deb. All right. Download. So we've got to use this thing to create a deb package out of the other sh file. On Arch, I just installed it from the AUR and it was done. Like, it was so much easier on Arch than it is on these simpler distros. / make resolve deb. Light. Yeah, I agree. I accept. So just to recap what I'm doing right now, we're installing DaVinci Resolve. It's going to fail to open, but then I can see after each installation attempt of the AMD drivers, as soon as Resolve opens, this video is done. Because when Resolve is working, I know Blender's going to work, because Blender is less finicky than Resolve. They both use OpenCL, so if Resolve sees OpenCL, Blender's going to see OpenCL. But I have had it to where Blender sees it and not Resolve. So we're testing Resolve since it's the hardest to get working. I will get Blender installed later. I might as well do it now, actually. Just search Blender. Hope it's in the repos. Yeah, it is. And this should be the latest version as of now, 2.79b. I don't think the 2.8 has been officially released yet. If we go to blender.org. Yeah, 2.79b is actually the latest version. So the LTS Ubuntu does have the latest version right now. Okay, so this keeps notifying us there's an update available, is what's happening. How do we update? Where is the update section? All right, installed. That seems a little messed up. Operating system updates, 12 components. So it says one update's available, and really we've got 12 things to be updated. But we'll go ahead and we'll do it. Update all. This App Center does work better than KDE Discover. I will give it that. It works better than Discover. The latest stable version of Kubuntu, I guess the second latest stable version now, since 18.10 came out today. But Kubuntu 18.04 Discover will not update packages for me, even when I try and use it. But this thing actually works. We do have a camera app. Don't know if I want to open that up right now. Oh, it got my bad webcam instead of the good one. Oh, cool, we got a notification when that terminal thing completed. So now we can install DaVinci Resolve. No applications found. We don't have a dev installer installed by default. All right, yeah, I was gonna say, the Elementary OS people made their own dev installer. They made, I'm pretty sure Eddie was made specifically for Elementary OS, but then they don't include it by default. Seems a little strange. Here we go. All right, install. Yeah, DaVinci Resolve is a lot of things. It is not lightweight. That is not one of the things that it is. Okay, so that's done. So now we can go into our applications, and DaVinci Resolve is right there. We can add that to our dock nice and easily. Now this is gonna fail to open. We should get the splash screen at least. How are we doing on Xorg memory? Still 45 megabytes, great. Resolve. Click on this again. I can't tell if anything's happening. Opt, resolve, bin, resolve. Error while loading shared libraries, libopencl. Alright, so yeah, it needs OpenCL, so let's start installing things, I guess. And let's install Blender just so that we've got the OpenCL libraries installed, if they're not already, for some reason. I can't see what the dependencies are for Blender, like the package dependencies. I can't see that in this App Center. It's very, very simplified to the point where I cannot see a list of packages that are being installed right now. It acts like it's one giant app being installed, when really I know it's still Ubuntu under the hood and it's still installing various packages. Okay, so we've got Blender installed. Yeah, Resolve still can't find OpenCL. So let's go back into our AMD directory. Okay, so I did -- help. Okay, so here's what we can do with AMD GPU-PRO. Install Pro support, Legacy, OpenGL, and Vulkan. I think that's what we need. Or do we need PAL? I only want to install what we need and nothing more. Okay, I'm gonna use Blender to test this. And I know this video is gonna get very long very quick. Where is Blender? Oh, it's missing its icon. It shows up here. If we go to our preferences in Blender and we go to system, yeah, no compute devices found right now. So let's install the PAL version of AMD GPU-PRO. -- OpenCL equals PAL. Because I recall last time, I think I installed Legacy first, thinking that was what I needed. And then DaVinci Resolve didn't work until I installed PAL. I think that's what happened last time. If this doesn't work, I can remove it. Looks like we're also getting quite a few things from, did we download anything from Ubuntu's repositories too here? Or is this all from, no, this is all from files actually. Okay. That's an error message. Let's see if Blender has OpenCL yet. There should be no reboot required for this. Nope, no OpenCL. Alright, here's an idea. So this is AMD GPU core. Core meta package for unified AMD GPU drivers. See, the unified one's what doesn't work. Let's see if Eddie will install this for us. Install. Probably not, because dpackage gave an error. So this will probably have the same error. Package a pre-installation script subprocess. It's the pre-installation script subprocess is the problem. Do we have an archive manager installed? Yes. Pre-install. Okay, so this is our problem. It's trying to check our Ubuntu version. Alright, what is our OS release reporting as? I like that I can middle click to open a new window on the dock. That is what I was expecting. Cat, Etsy, OS release. Version is 5.0 Juno. Yeah, I don't like that it was not giving me the error message. It was just giving me the exit code. Do I want to try changing this? Yeah, sure. 5.0 Juno. Can I save this? Update, yes. Okay, great. You can't do that with all archive managers that easily. I'm glad I could make a change to a file within this archive and save it so easily. So if we come back to our, how do I switch to the other window here? I gotta right click on it. All right. Try this again. Unmet dependencies. Returned error code. Okay. So if we get rid of this if statement, save, update. Really don't know what's going on here. Okay, so the archive manager said it was saving my change here. I click Control S. This file has been modified. If you don't update the file in the archive, your changes will be lost. Yeah, so I save it, close out of this, and I open this up again. So it's not actually saving. So what are we doing? Why? If AMD wasn't being stupid and checking the version of your OS release before they let you install their driver. Oh, well, it says read only right there in the title. So I don't know. Why was it letting me save if it's read only, or why was it pretending to let me save? What is the archive manager called? Alright, it's the file roller. So if we do sudo file roller /AMD core AMD GPU core. Alright. Still says read only. Great. Okay, so now let's edit this. Debian. Reinstall. Get rid of your stupid check. Screw you, AMD. I would honestly recommend NVIDIA over AMD at this point for multimedia professionals. Tpackage deb -b temp AMD GPU core 18.30 641594 all -fixed.deb. Alright, let's install our fixed version. Let's set our default for debs back to Eddie. This should work, hopefully, crossing my fingers. Okay, we're actually installing now. Look at that. I probably should have done this through the script instead of through Eddie, since it's working this time, but, you know, that's fine. I'm just confused why they would put a version check in their install script and then also put a second version check checking using the same method in one of the packages. Alright, well, it's successfully installed, so now if we open up Blender, you can see how great AMD drivers work. Alright, what's DaVinci Resolve do? Oh, well, it opens. Let's try rebooting. Maybe that'll help. Did I just get denied for a reboot? Alright. Well, we're rebooting now. Coming up on an hour for recording. Probably shouldn't have kept recording after Elementary OS was finished installing. Stop job is running. Seriously? Okay. At least the stop job was 24 seconds and not 5 minutes like it is on Arch sometimes. Yeah, these driver issues are not the fault of Elementary OS. These are the fault of AMD and whoever is in charge of their Linux drivers. Alright. I would auto-capture the input in the password field if I were Elementary OS. I would set that. Okay, here we go. So Blender opens up and looks normal now. And if we go to Preferences, System, now we have OpenCL and we've got our Vegas detected. Excellent, excellent. Great. So now, can we open up DaVinci Resolve? Yes, it's opening. So we just needed a reboot after we installed the drivers. That makes sense. All we did was install the core package. Actually, I have no idea what we installed really, because we ran the script, but the script failed, but then we installed the package manually. Wow, and this just opens up. It just works. That's okay. This is far enough along to where I know that it's gonna work if I put media in here. So that's actually really, this is strange how easy that worked compared to, the program is so hard to get working on Arch, just because of the AMD stuff with recent kernel versions. So if we open up ksysguard, here's the other issue though. If we go to memory, Xorg, see Xorg is now taking up 55 megabytes of memory. Is this gonna keep going up? 56 megabytes of memory. See, I think we've got the same freaking memory leak that we've got in Ubuntu, which does confirm that the problem is an AMD's driver, because it happens in several distributions. Well, I guess they're all based on Ubuntu, because that's the only freaking thing that AMD supports that's not using a kernel from a decade ago. Yeah, that's continuing to go up. So what's going to happen is Xorg is going to continue using more and more memory, just a megabyte at a time, until in a couple days it's going to be using like 25, 30 gigabytes of memory, and then I'm going to get kicked out of my session because the kernel's memory freer is going to kick in and kill the process using the most memory, which is Xorg. It's such a pain in the butt. Seriously, do not buy an AMD graphics card. You know, everybody says AMD's great for Linux, but it just sucks so bad. Their drivers are terrible. Their OpenCL drivers, which are required to use even free and open source software like Blender, requires the proprietary AMD drivers. Just like they require proprietary NVIDIA drivers. So, yeah, it's not worth it. Buy NVIDIA. Seriously. See, now we're up to 60. If we open this up again, is it going to go up to 60, 62? $64. What's it doing? 66. It's like it's saving every single thing that it opens and not clearing out memory ever. And I don't know enough to debug this. AMD's just going to tell me to install CentOS. Alright, but that's Elementary OS, guys. So I wanted to give it a shot. I just thought maybe a derivative might change something that will solve my issues with the AMD driver. Doesn't appear so, but Elementary OS is still a nice OS. Let me know if you guys have any questions about it. I'll keep the partition installed for at least a few days. Thanks for watching this super long video. Sorry we got into boring stuff like proprietary software, but, you know, that's my real life use case right now. That's all for now, though. I'm Jacob Kaufman. I'm the nerd in the street, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.